Boys, welcome back to Stockport County Live. A couple of weeks out, but here we are back again. How are we, Matty and Dicko?
All good, my friend. How are you? Are you well?
Keeping busy.
Not bad. All the better for seeing you in that new hairstyle, Chris. Looking good.
Well, listen, Dicko.
Throwing it out, are you?
You're covering yours up. Let's see what's going on.
There's a reason for that, pal.
Before we get going, and before we start speaking about Stockport County, Dicko, you've had a good week this week with a family member, Sheffield United and Man United.
I have, yeah. It's been mixed emotions for me, obviously, being a big Man U fan.
I'll bleep that out. Don't worry about it.
Obviously, the result didn't go our way yesterday, but that wasn't a problem for me because my little brother scored his first Premier League goal. And I was, you know what, I've not had a feeling like that for a long time. I was in front of the TV, I was screaming, I was shaking. And it's oh mate, honestly, what a night! It's like a dream come true, and no one deserves it more than him. So yeah, shout out to my little brother Kian on fantastic night at Old Trafford.
Yeah, unbelievable. Now tonight we've got a bit of a new format going on. We've got two county boys coming on, one current, one former. We've got Ryan Croasdale in a moment, then Andy Welsh just after Ryan. And Dicko, you seem to know everybody because as soon as both of these come on and in the briefing there before we started, Dicko, how's it going, mate? You get around, you don't you?
I'm just a social butterfly, pal. That's all it is. My missus hates it. She says sometimes I just want to go to Asda looking ugly, and I can't because you know someone everywhere we go.
That's true. That as well. That is very true.
Went to Amsterdam. Got a tap on the shoulder. Someone from Manchester. What are you doing here, Dicko? Everywhere we go abroad. I get. Hey mate, you well?
Well, marquee signing. Right. Well, with all that being said, I'm going to bring in Ryan Croasdale because I've left him waiting there in the background. So let's bring him in. Ryan, very good evening to you, mate.
Good evening. How are you, Kate?
Yeah, good. Before we properly start, Dicko was mentioning your hair as well. There's two of us and one of him, mate. We've got him.
Yeah, we've got to take him. I think I should have wore a hat as well.
Hey, to be fair, there's not many cuts left in that, mate.
I know. Yeah. I'll be going to Turkey or somewhere to get this one. I think. Might do a Sam Minian, I think.
He rocks that look, though, to be fair, Sam. He's pulling it off. Yeah, I hear John Kieran giving him compliments all the time. Can't think why. But let's move on.
What do you mean, twins?
Before I get in trouble, let's move on. Listen, Ryan, it's been a crazy season because of factors outside of Stockport County and globally and everything else. But within the club, it's been a season of change. We'll start with the new manager situation because, like I said to you in the brief, I don't think we need to completely go over everything and spend our whole time together speaking about the manager situation, but we have to address it. There's a new man at the helm. Have you had a chance to meet him yet?
Yeah. No, he took his first session today. We kind of had a team meeting this morning, kind of touch base, what he's about, how he wants to work, and meet the Mark McGee as well, the assistant. So no, it was the first good day for him, and the lads are raring to go.
I think I can guess the answer, but I will ask it anyway. Was it a good first impression for yourself?
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, he talks a lot about hard work, and that togetherness on the pitch, as well as kind of trying to play the right way and things. So it's kind of hopefully suits me as well, so we can both push on with it.
Mark McGee, as well as his assistant, comes with a wealth of experience, almost the other side of the spectrum, if you like. Simon's just starting out in many ways for his first team manager role. You've got Mark McGee there, who's got bags of experience. What was he like on your first session?
Yeah, no, really calm. Kind of just let the gaffer kind of do his thing. I think he's there just to help him along, and the balance probably works well with the manager coming in and doing his kind of first team job, as well as the experience of Mark as with his wealth of experience through international and playing managing as well. So yeah, I think the balance will be good between them.
And just a quick final one on the new setup. Dave Conlon obviously retains his position. He stays at the club. How important is that for consistency?
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, obviously everyone gets along with Dave. Probably one of the nicest men to go about in football. So to have that continuity throughout the club and on and off the pitch as well for us to approach is really important.
Want to bring in the fellas here. Obviously, Dicko, Matt Mainwaring, both former county players, highly thought of there. Boys, what's it like when you play with a new manager, or you take your first training session and things are the same, but they're a little bit different?
Well, I feel like I went through a similar situation when I first signed for County. Obviously, Chris Turner signed me, and within a week, he resigned. And Jim Gannon came in, and it was like, where do I stand kind of thing. New manager, he's going to bring his own players in. And, it worked out good for me. I developed a great relationship with Jim, and, that's when my career started to take off. And I feel like it's hard not to have a bit of uproar in camp sometimes, but the main goal is the consistency of the team, and the goal is to get promotion, and that should never change. And I feel like the players they've got in the camp are professional enough to do that. It's happened. You move on and you concentrate on your goals. And I feel like the lads in the camp, like I say, have got more than enough to crack on with that.
Yeah. Did you go through it as well, Matty?
Yeah, plenty of times, plenty of new managers. I think I had 3 in one season at Hull. I had multiple managers at Stockport. It's part of football, but I think given what's happened, as a club, we have to move forward. But I think you've got to take the positives out of it. The only thing you can look at really from a sort of a club point of view is because the new manager and new people are in charge, that lifts everybody 5-10% because everybody's playing for places again. It's brand new, there's a new setup, so everybody. That can only be good for the lads, I suppose, especially in the early stages of this manager's reign. So, got to move forward, got to look forward.
Let me ask you, Ryan. One thing that tends to happen with a new manager coming in is a new manager bounce. Well, County are fairly high up the table anyway, so a new manager bounce can only provide us with good things. How does that tend to come about? That spring, if you like.
I'm not sure, to be fair. Obviously, with my experiences last year with Dave Channell leaving, there was a bounce there, and obviously we were down at the bottom then. So hopefully that can work in our favour, and we can kind of catch the talkie and and keep climbing that table into the top few places, which ideally everyone wants to get promoted out of this league back into the football league. So
is it? Do you get the sense it's going to be very different than playing under Jim?
For the likes of Jordan Keane, Sam Minihan, the players who've had him over the 4 or 5 years, obviously. I've known Jim for the last few years when I've been at Kidderminster, been at Fylde, played against his teams throughout the years. But for me, obviously only working maybe 3 or 4 months under him, it was a breath of fresh air for me to work under him and a privilege for him to bring me to the club. And for that to be cut short is a shame from my side of it. But like the boys were saying there, a new manager comes in and it's a clean slate and everyone's got to kind of, fight for the shirt again, which can only, help us as a team moving forward.
Yeah. Fair enough. Now, I was saying at the start of the show there before you came in, Dicko already from time at Staley Bridge, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask then, who's the best striker you've played with?
The best striker? There could be a few.
Well,
do you want to take...
You met Liam Dickinson, didn't you?
Who?
I don't think he's biting, Dicko.
No, he's not. There's no nibble there. There's no nibble there. No, I was talking to the boys before you came on about obviously your brief spell at Staley Bridge, and Chris was asking, what position did you play? And I thought, I said centre mid, absolute engine, wants the ball, and you could tell it was obviously I think you were on loan from Preston at the time, weren't you?
Yeah.
You've got that style of play, like that academy style of play, where you want the ball, and I feel like you might agree or you might disagree, but when players come out of academies and go on loan to like the lower teams, that's when you find your physical game.
Yeah.
It's not all pretty football. It's about digging deep, and I feel like that makes a lot of players as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think with obviously them, I think it was 14, 15 games I went to Staley, which I learned so much. And after that, I went to Sheffield Wednesday, where I tried to get a loan for two years just to try and get some men's football. And you know what it's like when you get into that routine of playing that academy football, 23s football. Yeah. Where any advice to any young player, being released at 18, 19 is just to get yourself to a National League or a Conference League 2 club and just get games under your belt, because that is the best thing. I should have done that really earlier on, but that would be the best advice I'd give to any player, really.
Yeah. I agree with you completely, Ryan, because I think there's a big difference between academy 18s, 21s and men's football where money's on the line. Yeah. And league positions are on the line and life and death's on the line, really. Yeah, big difference. That's proper football.
Yeah.
And it prepares you well for moving up the ranks.
Yeah.
Dicko said you were like a young Matty Mainwaring. I guess your games were fairly similar, playing that middle of the park, because you slotted right in there, right?
Yeah, no. I think that position in there, obviously, there's competitive players in there as well with Lois Maynard, and you've got John Rooney, you've got Connor Jennings who can play in there. Harvey Gilmore's not really got a chance, so that's why probably took me so long to get in the team. Obviously, I had that good spell in the middle, and the last game I've come out, but the squad's so good, and every position is up for grabs again, and that can only be positive for the whole squad and the club.
What's it like? And I put this to the room. What's this like when it's you obviously all get on. You're obviously there's probably going to be cliques like there is at most clubs, but everybody's on the same page. But at the same time, you've got to fight for those shirts. So the names you just said, Lois Maynard, John Rooney, Jordan Keane, Harvey Gilmore, you're all going for the same slots on the pitch. So at the same time, the competition's fierce, but you still mates and teammates and everything else. How does that dynamic work in a county?
I think probably off the pitch, you get along, but there's going to be times where in training, things are going to heat up, and which naturally do, even on a game day. So then things do happen. But I think the squad we've got is everyone's professional. Everyone knows their job, and everyone wants to do well. And not just the individuals, but the club and the team. So you kind of rub off things with like that.
I feel like it shows the professionalism as well when I've been at clubs where everyone wants to be playing. You want to play every game. But if someone in your position is doing well and you're winning games, or this, as a striker for me, it's frustrating. But your main priority is for the team to win, and and you get promotion. But some people air it how they're unhappy, and that's for me is more of a selfish reason, and they're not team players. And you do come across them in different teams. But the majority of the players do want the other players, the teammates, and the friends to do well, and the club to do well. So that kind of outweighs the selfishness, I think.
Do you see, and you'll see where I'm going with this pretty quickly, because we'll move on from county. But do you see this grudges, if you like, if you and another player are competing for one particular spot? There's obviously maybe some hostility at times because you're both going for it. You move on, and then you meet again later in your career. We saw an unbelievable example, I think it was last night or the night before, with Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Romelu Lukaku. Have you ever seen anything like that? Before we start going on, because I'm going to ask the question in a minute, who wins in a fight between those two? Because I'm amazed by that. Before we get there,
Dicko's bigger than both.
Have you ever seen that? Where two players, they're in the same team, but then they leave, and now I get the chance to say what I really think.
I think what the boys saying there, I think there's always tension. I remember there being tension at County when I broke in at 18 in the first division, a little bit, because you're getting your flavour of the month. So other lads who aren't quite flavour of the month, or you keep them out of the side, they don't like it. They might have been in the side the year before, and they don't like it. And there is tension. I think that's natural. I remember when I went to Hull, one of the reserve players outright told me, "I hated you when you first come, because why did they need to bring another centre midfielder in? Why am I not all right?" And then he said, "I grew to love you." Then we got on dead well, but it is. But to go back and hold a grudge, I think you have to be professional enough. Like Dicko says, there, it's football. It's just football. Unless you have a genuine personal problem with somebody, it's just football. I
mean, I feel like there's more chance of a grudge coming out onto the pitch, spilling out onto the training pitch when you're playing in the same team than when you come up against each other 4 or 5 years down the line. I mean, in training, there's been plenty of times where there's been grudges, and someone will leave a bit on someone in training, go through the back of them or whatever. That happens. That's life. But I feel like for you to go away your separate ways and to come back, and unless you really, really dislike someone, it's very rare.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Okay, then let's go through it. I'm going to go around the table, starting with you, Ryan. I mean, I'm assuming you've seen this Zlatan Romelu thing. I mean, I really like both players. I know United I'm not really a massive fan of, but I think both players are incredible at what they do. Couldn't believe it when I saw all that. And my honest thinking was, Romelo's going to take this boy apart if this happens where they go into a changing room or something. But does Romelu Lukaku beat
Zlatan?
Yeah, I think Zlatan.
He's just got that
He's got a
roundhouse.
bit more about him, hasn't he? A bit
Door off
more-
of a roundhouse. That's it.
Yeah.
What are you saying, Matt? Back me up.
Yeah, I am going to back you up. I think to look at them both, I'm going to say Romelu, but I know better than anybody. Don't judge a book by its cover. Do you know what I mean? Both big guys. People can shock you.
Have you ever seen that on a football pitch? Those two players go at each other like that.
Was it over?
No,
It doesn't surprise me though with Zlatan. It does not
I mean, I've
surprise me.
seen it briefly, but I just heard Lukaku giving it something like you told me to something, my mother or something like that.
Yeah, well, he was saying something about go and do voodoo magic or something.
Oh,
But
right.
But it's come before that. Apparently, Zlatan said something along the lines of, "I left United a king, you left as a donkey," or something to that effect.
Something like that, yeah.
And that's what's kicked it off. So I don't know.
But Zlatan's the wind-up merchant anyway, isn't he?
Yeah.
He'll be loving that. He'll be loving the reaction.
Have you ever wound anyone up like that, Dico?
Oh, so many times, mate. So many times. Honestly, mate. Bantered players off so many times. Just getting in the ring in the game. Oh, you're having a stinker, you, mate. And I've had players try to give it me, and I'm like, pay me window cleaner more than you get.
I'm going to ask Andy this in a moment as well when we bring him in, because right at the highest level, I've got to hear our players in cricket. They call it sledging, don't they? Have any of you guys ever had where like you say, where, and I can imagine Dicko's had many occasions, but Ryan and Matty, you seem a little bit more reserved, a little bit more, whatever. But have you ever had it where someone's getting in your ear, giving you this stuff that Dicko's just been saying, "I pay my window cleaner more than I pay you"?
Yeah, loads. Me and Dicko had one. I remember me Dicko had one with another player. Do you remember that, Liam, for Staley?
Which one?
I think it might have been Lincoln. And them two kicked off in a tackle, and I got this protective head, and I'm half the size of Liam. I got my
I remember now. I remember.
And I flew over trying to protect him. He's twice the size of me. Land of the Giants. No.
That
It does
thing
happen.
happens all the time, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
All
it
the
does
time.
happen.
I've had it off Joey Barton, mate. I'll crush you.
Just get it off Sabding as well.
Joey Barton told me he'll crush me, so I looked at him. He said, "I'll drop my wallet on you," and that was it. I had no.
Yeah, you can't come back with that.
That's it. I just said, "All right, fair enough."
Who's the wind up in the county team at the minute, Ryan? Who would you expect to hear something like something like that from in the current squad?
Probably Runes or Reedy, maybe. Reedy's a bit chirpy on the pitch.
Reedy, he seems so nice.
He's deceivingly, I think. I think on the pitch he'll have it with the centre halves and things because he's having himself a bit anyway. Let's be honest.
Yeah, fair enough.
No, it happens all the time. That kind of thing. I think you can either go one way, you can crumble a bit and probably go hiding and not get on the ball, or go the other side where you're trying to show them what you're about. Yeah, kind of with your football. So,
well, listen, Ryan, I'm wary of keeping you for too long this evening. It's been good just getting a little bit of insight into what goes on behind the scenes, and obviously with the new manager. Listen, promotion's still on this season. Very much like it could happen, and big games ahead, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, every game's going to be game at a time is always the motto I like to go by, and hopefully we can keep pushing on, and we've got them games in hand as well. We can kick on. It just depends on if there's going to be any more postpones, or you don't know what's going to happen, but game at a time. So hopefully.
Of course. Well, listen, we'll let you crack on. Ryan, it's been an absolute treat. Thank you very much for joining us this evening.
All the best for the rest of the season, Ryan, mate. Take care.
Yeah, cheers, lads.
See you
Top
soon.
man, Ryan. Fly the flag, mate.
Take it easy, mate.
Cheers, dude. Now, with the powers of modern technology, I can move things around like this these days, which I would never be able to do in a radio studio. I can bring in one of the players. I'm going to bring him in. This is like your 10-second warning, Andy, if you can hear us. One of the most exciting players I can remember seeing. Many stories to come from this guy, I'm sure, because when he first came to County, young, tricky winger, and he definitely was a winger. So thanks for hanging me out there, Dicko. I'm going to bring in Andy Welsh, and no surprise to anyone listening at all, you already know Dicko. Welcome, Andy. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks, guys. How are you doing?
All the best for seeing you, pal. Great teeth, mate.
Oh, unbelievable.
Colgate
That's all
smile.
I do in lockdown is brush my teeth.
Andy, before we go any further, you're the casting vote now. Who wins in a boxing match? Romelu Lukaku or
Zlatan all day.
Come on, mate. Zlatan all day.
Funnily enough, where I live, he when he was at Man U, his lad done some sort of taekwondo or something. So he was at this a great area in Bradford, watching his lad, and his lad were ridiculous at taekwondo as well. So I'm backing Zlatan all day.
All day, mate. All day.
So yeah, to be fair, I mean, the big bird. He has got that
Lukaku
but
catches him with the right hook. He might go down.
I tell you what, though. I bet you someone like Eddie Hearn or I'm going to say the Sowland brothers. You know, they're sitting there licking their lips, thinking, "All right, massive charitable donation, £1 million each, whatever." I tell you what, I would pay-per-view that. I
wouldn't get out of bed for that, mate.
Whatever the paycheck, make it happen, because I'd definitely watch it.
I think Lukaku wouldn't have that, mate.
Oh, I don't know.
He doesn't seem like a fighter to me.
Yeah, no, he had his teammates.
I reckon after the game he's apologised.
No, he had his teammates there holding him back. It's one of them ones, you know, when you're in primary school, you're picking up. Come on, then, hold me back, like that.
Primary school.
That
was outside Fifth Avenue, 42nd Street.
But you're trying to get him to grab it.
Oh, well, I tell you what. My final word on the matter is, I am not facing any of those two, no matter how much you pay me. Does not end well for me. But listen, Andy, we'll bring you into a Stockport County conversation, probably more relevant. After people watching this are thinking, what on earth are you talking about? Stop going on about it. So we'll bring you in. Welcome to Stockport County Live. For a start, I've been seeing you at quite a few county games. Every week I've been saying, Andy, I'll definitely get you on. Yeah. So it's absolutely great to have you on. We've been meaning to for a while. How are you enjoying football at the moment?
No, I'm not. No, I mean, obviously I know, Matty and Dicko, they've been at high levels in football as well. And to be fair, for their love of the game, they continued playing it in non-league as well. And unfortunately, at the minute, the non-league side of it isn't going ahead. And I'm really missing it. As much as I enjoyed covering the cup games for Stockport, it just don't feel right. I mean, I'm getting a little bit bored with the Premier League games as well. You're talking about Man U Liverpool the other day, and it's 0-0 in the Premier League. It's like, when have you ever seen a 0-0 Man U Liverpool and players hugging each other after games and things like? It's not. I don't think football's in a great place at the minute. I really don't. I think the elite level is when you're talking Premier League, but I think Championship down, I think there's a lot of cracks being papered over at the minute. I really do. Yeah,
it's
touching on that, what you said about the United and Liverpool and they're hugging each other. I feel like football is more of a business now than a passion. You look at the days when it was Gerrard, Neville, Gary Neville and Scholes smashing Piquino. He wouldn't be hugging Vieira after a game, would he? They wanted to kill each other. That's the passion. That's the passion now. It's all about who's the best player in the world. How much can I earn? And like you say, it's gone to more of a business now. It's
social media
in the direction of the NFL for me.
Do you not think though that's because, and just to play advocate here, I'm not disagreeing, but do you not think that's because the level has raised? With all due respect to the likes of Roy Keane and everyone else, as technical footballers, the midfielders out there now, I think it's fair to say, higher quality. You couldn't get away with half the tackles. Roy Keane would be sent off every week if he played at the minute. So because of that, you've got to focus more on your game, which means there's less characters because everyone's more focused on training and upping their levels. And social media means you can't even go out and have a beer without everyone seeing it on Twitter. So, I see what you're saying, but do you not think part of that is because the level's higher?
Maybe, Chris, but I think the grounds to do with it as well. Remember all these old grounds? There's not many left. The closed-in grounds with the mad atmospheres.
Yeah.
The Anfields, Tottenham's old ground, Arsenal, Highbury. All them, the atmospheres are. You only got to watch Premier League is. They're out of this world now. It is like what Liam said. It's a bit more of a show now for fans.
Yeah.
The casual turns up.
Yeah, sorry. Even looking at the fans, when you watch the Premier League years and they've all got the tops off, they're jumping all over. There's beer everywhere, drinks everywhere. It's it's the love of the game. Whereas now you're looking and it's just you see phones everywhere, don't you? You just see phones. Yeah. And you just text that crunch.
So I'm gonna put something out there early on in this conversation because I know you're gonna ask me about it. Relatability and connection. So you're gonna ask me about Jim leaving Stockport and connection with fans and things like that. Is that
like you read the script, Andy?
Well, is that something to do with the connection of fans and clubs now? Because you're talking about to go and watch a Premier League game now. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And you're talking about an experience as well. Is it a good experience of going watching maybe a local club and being close to the pitch and things like that? And I don't think it is anymore. I really don't.
It doesn't appeal to me going to Old Trafford, sitting in the clouds, looking down at dots. Like
you don't feel connected to the
players.
No,
not at all, mate. Not at all.
As a player, sorry, Matt. As a player, does it change your experience? Because, like you say, let's take County for an example, right? Big club, big ground, and when it's full, it's absolutely rocking. And because it's so close to the pitch, I imagine, Andy, if you're up and down the wing, or Dicko, if you're in front of goal in the Cheadland, Matty, if you're in the middle of the park spraying passes, you can feel all that heat coming onto you from. I remember Sam Walker last season saying one of the hardest things to take was when he misplaced a pass, he heard half the stadium groan and he could feel it. And then it worked the other way when he took a player on and everyone's cheering him on. Like you say, when everyone's on the phone.
He sounds like a player mentally who's on the way down.
Do you reckon?
Well, do you know, when I started playing, you never hear the moan. I mean, you guys, when you start playing in front of crowds.
You must never misplaced a pass, mate.
No, but when you're younger, I think you don't hear it as much. But as you get older and you get more experience,
yeah, fair point.
Your mind starts taking over, and that's where a strong mindset comes in, and why the top players stay at the top level for so long, because they don't hear them groans and they get on the ball as much as they can, and they'll give it away as much as anyone, but their mindset is, I'm going to go back and get it again. And
exactly.
Sometimes mindset as a thing to play with it, but certainly Edgley Park for me, played at a lot of stadiums. The atmosphere there I always remember the Man City game.
Yeah.
Still to this day, unbelievable atmosphere. Never ever experienced anything like it. At Edgley, it was just an incredible night.
Yeah, it always is against City, but it should be. It should be. And maybe you are right there, Dicko, about atmosphere losing a little bit. But I don't think, certainly for the time being, when fans come back in, I don't think Edgley is going to lose that bite, especially in games like Man City, Andy.
Like I said, I feel like it's more the elite, more the Premier League. Yeah. It's more going towards more business than actual the heart and desire of a club. There's not many players I could name in the Premier League that love the club and play for the club. They play for the wages and the limelight. A lot of them. There's
not many Mark Nobles anymore, is there?
No.
All right, so let's move on then. And Andy mentioned Jim there. We will speak about the new gaffer coming in and Jim leaving, because it was this time last week. It was all it had just been announced. I don't think it's too fair. Cheers to you, Dicko.
Dry Jan.
I think.
I'm in that one.
Yeah, man.
Come on, man. Let's go get some beers. No, we'll listen. I want to speak more about the new manager in a moment, but I do think it's only fair we tip the cap to Jim, because we've interviewed him. I had him every week on this show for 4 years. Went to his house, he came here. We met at the ground, training, even outside.
Football friends.
All right, Dicko, you are getting bleeped so much out of this podcast. But listen, what the gaffer's done for the club has been amazing. I think Chelsea losing Lampard, moving on from Frank Lampard this week. There was a quote I saw doing the rounds, but it's never easy to move on when it's a legend involved, and I think that's probably right here. Listen, what the new owners have done throughout the last year has been unreal. Nobody has found any criticism, and why would they? It's all been absolutely amazing. As much as I like Jim, and last week was a surprise and a hard one to swallow at first, now the dust is settled. I think I love Jim. What he's done has been amazing for the club. But you have to respect the new owners.
I mean, the thing with that is obviously he's got Mark McGee with him, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And I always remember when Carlton took over and he had Kevin Richardson with him, and they almost forced, forget his name, Colin. He would have been with you at Hull, Matty, I think. What's his name now?
Colin.
I feel really bad.
Player or staff member?
He was, I think he was an assistant manager or a coach at Hull. But I forget his name. I feel really bad for forgetting his name. Really well thought of guy in football, but Carlton weren't having none of his information. So my probably concerns there is you've got Dave Conlon, you've got Mark McGee, and you've got Simon. It's a bit of a strange dynamic. I feel. Mark McGee's normally a manager.
Yeah,
no,
true. I mean, at the end of the day, if he's an assistant, you guys will know better than I, especially now you're a manager yourself, Andy, which we'll come to in a moment.
Yeah.
As a manager, it's your role now. Mark is your assistant. I know what you mean about he's a manager by trade, but if he's come in as your assistant, you've got to keep him in line, man.
Yeah.
It's about gelling and working and bouncing off each other. I feel like sometimes the manager needs a good assistant to point out the things that are going wrong. You've only got one set of eyes, and you're not always going to get it right. I feel like Wardy and Jim worked well together when I was at County. It was fully known. Jim was the manager. That was it. Wardy was assistant manager, but Wardy would also have his input, and Jim would respect that and take it on board as well. I feel like if they gel together and they work well together, then I feel like it could be a match made in heaven, regardless of Matt being a manager as such.
Yeah.
Wardy's knowledge was second to none. I agree, Dicko. I think Jim really valued that. However, this is football. Things go on, and like Liam says there about fans, a few good results, and we're on the road again. It's the way things work. I suppose it's the way things go.
One man who's moved into management in more recent years, Andy, how are you finding that adaptation?
Yeah, I love it. It's tried to sign Dicko a few times. He pied me off.
Hey, we're far Yorkshire, mate. If you would have tried to sign me for Bury, mate, I'd been right
there. No, I'm enjoying it. It's something that I've always had a passion for, staying in the game. And obviously the opportunity to get involved at Bury and help build the football club that they've got there has been immense, really. It's been a...
You got me shirt today, mate. Sorry, Paul.
Bit of a whirlwind ride. Was that after I left Blackpool?
I think it was. That was 2009, 2008. This was.
It's probably season after I left.
I think it was a season or 2 seasons after, yeah. With Stephen McPhee. Remember McPhee?
Yeah, Mackie, yeah.
I was with Mackie on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Having a few sherbets.
Yeah, he's a good guy, isn't he?
We were 2 meters apart as well, social distancing.
Good on you.
I
like it. Why have you gone for the Blackpool shirt tonight?
Just thought it's a bit dull outside. I get a nice bright colour on. I have a different one. I've had that many clubs, mate. I could last about 45 podcasts.
I've got to be honest. When you walked in with that shirt, then I nearly turned this off because I hated my time there.
Did you? See,
really?
I was talking about you dropped a little name in before, Ben Burgess.
Oh, what a guy!
What a guy! Obviously, he was at Blackpool, yeah. So what a guy! What a nice guy as well.
Yeah.
Can we ask you to divulge a little bit on that, Andy?
On what? The Blackpool one?
Yeah, Blackpool. Yeah.
Well, I was at I signed at Blackpool from Toronto, so I was out in the MLS playing for Toronto, and I decided I was going to come back. But Simon Grayson was a manager at Blackpool. But when you leave the MLS, because the league own you, you have to you literally have to sign your contract away. and Blackpool, who was that crook of a chairman.
Oyston.
He'd agreed a 2-year deal, and then he kind of reneged on it and just offered a 1. And Simon Grayson was like cowering away from it, and so I ended up just with a 1-year deal there, and I probably played about 28 games, barely played. I think most of them were sub appearances. So it was pretty much I'd gone from in 2 or 3 seasons from playing in the Premier League to didn't have a frigging club in the September because I hadn't played and I'd been away for about 18 months. So it just wasn't a good time. Just didn't enjoy it. Manager wasn't strong enough to face you up and tell you and be honest with you, really. And it was just one of them opportunities that I probably look back and wouldn't have took if I'd have known what would have happened.
Thank you. Let's talk about the Bury for a moment, because I'm wary of time running too far away from us and keeping you all night. But there's loads that I could speak to you about. I'd love to speak to you about the MLS and the Premier League, which we'll try and touch on about in a moment. But let's just talk about Bury for a moment. Very public what happened to Bury FC about a year ago, maybe a bit more now. Then from the ashes, the Phoenix rises. What's it like there? What's the project like?
No, honestly, I've been at a lot of clubs, but the way that they're running it, and it is actually fans that are running it. What they've actually done is they've called upon, the fan base that was of Bury FC, and everyone really has got involved. But normally when clubs would do this, it only works for about a week or two, and people get bored and go, "Well, I'm doing more than you," and this, that, and the other. But I mean, the club's going from strength to strength. They got 1,500 memberships. At the level we're currently at in the Northwest Counties is incredible. They've got their own TV channel on a match day. There's like 400 or 500 that watch on the live streams because obviously they can't get in the ground. But they have like their own kind of match day commentary. Like you've got this Sani Rudravalia who does like a Sky Sports type thing as well. But not just that, it's just the people that are around the club as well. They're just really, really good people that just want the best for people in the community and a club to watch again. So, part of my role is trying to connect everyone together, schools, young football teams, and have them a club to be proud of, really, and come and shout for us on a Saturday or a Tuesday.
It's a very community-run club. Bury was it anyway. I mean, it only takes. I think it was it the groundsman that was going in every day doing the ground when they weren't playing.
Is, apparently, yeah.
And Gus turns up every day, makes sure the ground's pristine, and even when he got told, that's it, he's done, and he was still going in because he loves the club that much, and that's what a lot of people, not even just from Bury, from outside Bury, it's a family run club, it's a family club, and it is, and like I say, hopefully you've got that fan base from outside of Bury as well, and hopefully it's just going to go stronger and stronger.
Yeah, I mean, with that as well, you're going to have people that don't agree with it, but you just have to manage those situations. And our biggest thing is, and part of my role certainly when I took over was, I'm not the type of manager that throws money at stuff. I want to work with players that want to develop as well. So went and got players in that had just been released from a Leeds United, or players that had been released from other clubs or weren't playing at certain clubs, because I see them as a project as well. I want them to come and play their football. For example, Jordan Downing, Jordan's been on loan from us to us from Stockport this year, and he just needs games. He just needs to get elbowed, kicked, punched, red card, spat on, and all that experience. And only time will tell. But I mean, he's a fantastic size. And I'm sure he'll go on and do okay in the game if he continues to play. That's the biggest thing. I talk with some players, and the first thought is money when they're talking to me about Bury, and that isn't a project. The best thing about Manchester and Greater Manchester and all the clubs that are in Greater Manchester is if you can't relate with the fans that are hard-working people and people that want to go and shout and scream for their team, on a weekend and shout for players that are going to put in 100% effort every game, they'll get behind you. But it's, if you're if you're supporting a team and players are there, they'll get found out straight away.
Yeah,
that's what you were saying, Matty, wasn't it? About earlier on, there's no real substitute for men's football when there's things at stake there.
No, it's not. It's an education for you, especially as a young player coming from higher up. You might have played at an academy, 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds in the reserves, but when results are on the line and money's on the line, that's a proper education for you, and that's what prepares you for being a pro.
Jordan's been a player that's been around County for a while. How's he coming along, Andy?
He's doing really well, yeah. He scored. Yeah, he scored last game that we had back in 2000. I can't even remember.
17.
Yeah. No, he's done well, yeah. And I really think a lot of him. He is Stockport's player. Whether he'll get in County's team, I'm obviously seen a lot of them recently, and but the thing is, if he don't get in Stockport's team, I think he's got a great mindset. He just wants to play games, and I believe that players that have that type of mindset, no matter where you're playing, as long as you get in a game of football in men's football each week, you've got more chance of progressing rather than just sitting or being at home on a Saturday.
Yeah.
No, of course. Well, listen, guys, we are cracking on. So just finally, Andy, we have seen you at a few games this season. BBC Radio Manchester, I want to say.
Yeah.
Hell of a gig.
Yeah.
Just good shout. But what have you when you look at that Stockport County team? Is promotion on the cards? Because I mean, we're all going to say yeah, and I'm guessing you are as well. But when you see that team, is it happening?
Personally, I think they've got a fantastic team in some respects there. But I know a few of the players. I was with Connor Jennings at Scunthorpe. Connor will be a big player for him this season. Rooney's been fantastic the 3 games that I've seen him play. I've never sseen him play before. But, he has been very effective in the game, certainly the goal against Rochdale.
Yeah.
But I just think I do think they're lacking a goal scorer. I don't look at the squad and I don't see... I think to get promotion, you need a player that's going to get you at conference level 30 plus goals. And I don't see that in that squad at the minute. I'll probably get a message from Connor saying cheers for that, mate. But... I just don't. I do think they might have, like a Danny Rowe that they had at Fire. At Fire. I know he's just gone to Bradford. I know they didn't get promoted with it, but that type of player that, we spoke about it, Dicko, before we came on. A Tom Greaves who, won't do anything
but score
90 odd minutes, and it'll be 0-0, but it'll come off his backside and it'll go in. Going back in the old days, a Luke Beckett, somebody like that.
I was just going to say that name.
Exactly.
Right place, right time.
Yeah, exactly.
But more often than not, they get a number 9 like that will get picked up.
Adam Lafondra, mate, he's done it all his career.
Yeah,
he said, I won't do anything for 8 to 9 minutes, but I'll score. And he's smashed it throughout his career.
He was doing that when I was playing with him at Devonshire Rangers, and his dad was manager. Honestly, he was doing that when we were all them years ago. But listen, Andy, it's been great having you on. And do you know what, mate? If you don't mind, we're going to have you back, I think, because there's so much to get through. Yeah. We've hardly spoke about your playing days at County. We've hardly spoke about the Prem and going over to the MLS. So, give us a couple of weeks, mate. I think we'll have you back on if that's all right.
Yeah, no worries. Hopefully there's a few wins under the belt for the team as well.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Fascinating stuff, Andy, mate. I'm all ears, definitely.
I'll DM you my number, mate. You and just send me the signing on forms through, and I'll
Are you still wanting to play?
I'll get my agent to skim over him, and we'll sort something out, mate.
Honestly, mate, we are desperate for a kit man. I swear,
mate.
Chairman's a kit man.
Really? Oh, I can do a job. I can do it right. I can iron and everything, mate.
Matty, what are you up to now? Because I saw you went off into boxing.
Yeah, mate, I'm definitely not playing football.
Yeah. Are you still boxing there?
No, retired, mate. I had a 3-year stint in the pros, retired. The money side of it makes football seem a dream, mate, to be honest.
Now he's a professional, good-looking bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'd had a cracking 3-year stint and decided it wasn't for me from the business perspective. But
Yeah.
another chapter ticked off.
Well, that's
forward.
it, mate. You know, life's about experience, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you know, you had a fantastic football career. You've had a boxing career. Not many can say that.
No, I'm very grateful, mate. Very grateful.
Yeah.
It's been top draw.
Great.
Yeah, I've seen you doing some other things as well, mate. Interviewing Chris Eubank Jr. Jeez.
Love that.
Yeah, quality. Right, listen, boys. I'm going to crack on and get on with editing this all up. But it's been a treat, and yeah,
pleasure, fellas. Pleasure.
Hopefully, win at the weekend, and we'll see you very soon.
Cheers, guys.
See you all.
Good to see you, mate. See you soon.
Take it easy,
Dick.
Andy.
See you,
Cheers,
Chris.
Dick.
See you, Matty.